What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Team Big Plays. So as you can see, there's been some changes. Haircut. How's it going? You might hear music behind you that is coming from my computer. Shoutouts to Duong Thai for the non-copyright lo-fi. I'll include a link to his channel down below. Make sure to check it out. So before we get started today, I want to say Crystal Plush 101. You won. You won the map. Here, let me pull it out for you. Alright. You won the map. All I need you to do is, kind of reach out to me on Discord, Twitter, even through my email. If you can't do that, I understand. Just leave a comment down below, and then I'll throw my number up for a little bit just in case you'd rather use that if you can text. Maybe, I'm trying to think of what else I can do, but I want to make sure you get this because you guys are all my subscribers, and it's very important to me because I want this channel to become big, so I want to make sure you guys get what you win. So leave a comment down below, man, how you kind of want to go about this, and once we got everything worked out, get your address, send it to you, bam, no problem. So what today's video is going to be about is kind of something that I think is a bit necessary. Now, some pretty big YCSs are coming up, as you know. Big YCS is the Atlanta 3v3 YCS. So if you didn't know, the Atlanta 3v3 YCS is Yugioh's first ever team dual YCS. So the way it works is, instead of having a match where it's like best out of 3 versus you and your opponent, instead, each duel in that match is split between you and 2 of your partners. You guys don't share fields. You guys have nothing to do with each other outside of you can comment to kind of help them out, say, hey, you should play this instead, or hey, you're about to misplay. Make sure that they know. If you got any advice for them, you can do that. But it's a pretty big one that's coming up, and a lot of people are going to it. Heard a lot of talk. So what I wanted to do, kind of before that all started, is get you guys ready to know what you are going to need and how to prepare for big tournaments like this, because that's something that I think is really important, especially if you want to get into competitive, you want to be not necessarily the best, but have a good time, because some of that is pretty appropriate. It would suck, like if you got to the tournament, your side deck, extra deck, and main decks, this will come up, all completely different sleeves, and then because there are those assholes at the tournaments. It's not like they're not there. That'll just call you out on it, even if it's your first time. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be, guys. Remember, hit like, subscribe, notification bell down below if you want to see more. And Crystal Plush, make sure you get back to me, bud. I want to get you this. You earned it. And yeah, I'll probably be doing another giveaway sooner or later. I got some deck profiles coming up for you. Blankets Invoked, #1, as soon as I can get a Raijin. For the card shop I had ran out of Raijins because they went to the regionals over the weekend. I was like, well, shoot, because they take literally everything. I swear it's every single time. Alright, guys. Yeah, Twitter, Discord, all that jazz down below. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Yeah, let's get back into the video. Alright, so let's just get into it. So, the first thing you're going to need, obviously, for even playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is your deck of cards. So right here I got my Prankins deck. First of all, your deck can be anywhere from 40 to 60 cards. If you plan on going to a regional or YCS, you probably already know this. And your extra deck has to be 15, your side has to be 15. Now, your side and your main deck have to be the same color of sleeves. Part of the reason for this is just to make siding a bit easier and keep things going, because you don't want to run into time. There's plenty of BS that goes into that. You could get called for slow playing, which is just not a good thing in general. So for this, you're going to need a minimum of anywhere from 40 to 50, well, 40 for your deck, 15 sleeves for your extra deck, minimum, the same exact color. So maximum, you're probably going to need anywhere from, I'd say 75, 60 for your deck, 15 for your side. I would recommend, they do sell deck sleeves in packs of 100, or you can just buy 2 of the same. Ultra Pro is really good. There's this one dragon sleeve type thing that's really good that I like to use. I'm more of an Ultra Pro person myself though. So your extra deck, however, has to be a different color. So I don't necessarily know why this is, but I don't know. I guess that's just how things are. So, alright, and then right after that, you would need a deck box, preferably. You want to keep your cards protected, because if your sleeves get ruined, they get nicks in them. They will call you for slow playing. That's part of the reason why you have to have sleeves, because if you just have the bare card, the cards can get ruined, things can happen. That'll make it seem like you marked them, and then you'll get called for marking your cards, which is cheating, which can get you kicked out of all Yu-Gi-Oh events, especially if you keep climbing and then somebody calls you for it. So yeah, definitely sleeves and a deck box to protect it. There's a lot of protection that kind of goes on to these things, so which brings us to our next one. You're going to want a playmat. So playmat goes the same thing, kind of like a deck box. The only difference is it's for while you're playing. Mostly because, you know, these tables are dirty. So many things have been on them. People eat, people drink, people do whatever. There's dirt on them. If their hands are dirty, for some reason, I don't know why they would do this, but if they put their shoes on it, dirt just gets everywhere. So another reason why you have sleeves is just to kind of keep your cards nice in general. That's why you use a playmat. So another thing I recommend, get a protector for your playmat. Depending on where you go, they'll just give you one when you buy the playmat. Some shops do that, not all though, but some. So pop this open for you. Yeah, so like as you can see, if there were any dirt on the table, water, that's another reason too. Because if somebody spills water right next to you, it doesn't get on the playmat, but if it spills right next to you, the playmat will kind of stop that and soak it up. Will your playmat be wet? Yes. Will your cards be ruined? No, and that's really important because, as y'all probably know, some Yu-Gi-Oh cards can be very, very, very expensive. So, bam. And like I said, protector for your mat's always nice, just because it's your things. You want to keep them nice. Alright, after that, you're going to need, you don't necessarily, well, okay, 3 of these things you need. One of them you don't. First of all, a field center. So the reason you need a field center, or most likely you'll just put your dice in the field, but it's just so that way you can tell where your link zones are. Just because it's nice to keep things in order. Another reason why you need a playmat is just so you know where things are, which columns they go in. Because that can cause a lot of confusion, especially if you're going against a deck like Mech Knights that's required and you don't want to get called for that. Another thing is you will need dice. So one of the reasons you need dice is for counters. Some Yu-Gi-Oh cards use things called counters, which you would place on a monster or on like certain spell or traps to kind of keep track of things. It's weird. Some effects will say, oh, if there's a counter on this monster, do this. Some cards will say put counters on this for every single one, and then after a certain amount of counters something will happen. You can also use it for keeping track of time, like for turns. So like let's say you have Gold Sarcophagus, discard it, you can put a counter on your graveyard. Okay, here, or even better, Swords of Revealing Light. So you have Swords of Revealing Light out, put your counter on it, that's first turn, back to my turn, second, opponent's, mine, third, it ends. Kind of like that. So another reason too is just like for determining who goes first. You can always just dice roll for it. Another thing too, picking cards randomly out of your hand. Sometimes you'll just use a dice. Say, okay, this card is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, not 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll for it. Bam. That's the one you pick. So kind of going along with this too is you'll need a coin. Just because some card effects use coin flips, you can also use it to determine who goes first or second. You'll use a dice more often than not, but it is good to have a coin handy, so to say. Then you will need tokens. So token cards, if you don't know, are kind of cards that, it's hard to describe, it's kind of like special summoning. A card will say, do this, and summon a token. So a token kind of counts as like a normal monster that's special summon. The only difference is that it comes out of nowhere, it's not in your deck or anything. And then when it leaves the field, it's gone. It doesn't go into your graveyard, it doesn't get banished, you just take it away. So some cards, you know, summon tokens obviously scapegoats, pranks in my deck, a couple cards. So it is always nice to have tokens on hand, because you can't use anything else to represent the tokens. You can get called for that. So make sure you have a couple, 5 preferably, maybe 4, because your opponent should have some for themselves. But other than that, they're pretty cheap, so you should be able to get them. If not, you can always just trade for your friends. I know some boxes give you tokens with them. So, alright, and next up is probably going to be money, to be honest with you. As you can tell, I got nothing in here, but it is always good to have money. One, because you need food. There might be some last minute cards you want to get, because there are plenty of vendors there, let me tell you. So just in case anything comes up, money is a good thing to have. You want to eat, you want to drink. I don't think they let you bring that in from outside. If they do, you have to, leave the event, go to your car, come back. Obviously that runs into problems just in case your round's about to be, it's about to be your round, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta get inside real quick. Then you gotta go through security and the whole Shazam again. So make sure you have money. It's a good thing, especially too if oh, I'm missing a copy of Infinite Impermanence. It's a good thing if you have your ID to kind of prove hey, I lost this deck. Here's my ID, here's who I am, this is who I am. Same thing for registration too. So, good thing to have. After that, I would say probably a book bag. Why? Well, simple. You don't want to carry your stuff around the whole time in your arms. It's just a lot of stuff to carry. Like I said, mat, deck, wallet, dice, coin. Sometimes you'll have just a lot of different dice. Some other stuff that we'll get to that you don't want to carry it around in your hands. So a book bag's always nice. Now I do know, I forget what the company name, but they do make Yu-Gi-Oh's, well, not necessarily Yu-Gi-Oh, but trading card games specific book bags to kind of keep your stuff safe, keep it organized, and not let it get ruined. That's what the book bag's designed to do. It also has a lock on it, which kind of brings us to one point. If you have a lock that you can use for your book bag, use it. Not everybody is like this, but there are those times where there are those shady people at tournaments that will just take your stuff out of nowhere, which sucks, because if your deck gets stolen, you don't have a deck. That's the exact same copy, because you have to have every single card in your deck. You can't take one out, you can't put one back in. It stays that way once you make the deck list. So you don't want to get stolen, because then you're disqualified if you don't have one. Sometimes, I know what came up with YCS Chicago, Sima lost his deck, somebody returned it. That's great, but that doesn't always happen. So it's best to make sure you have a lock on your stuff. Make sure you have either the key in a safe place or the combo, depending on what it is. Let's see. Another thing too, if you only have money for food, it's always good to make sure that you have, a solid trade binder. Because there are those moments where it's like, gosh, I wish I had this, or you were just testing last minute and be like, you know what, I need to get this, but you don't have the money for it, because some things are expensive, or you just only brought enough money to get in, get food, get out, because you're kind of on a budget. So make sure you have some trade, if you have trades. Not saying you have to go out and get trades, but if you have them, it's always good to bring them with. Because you never know, you might end up plussing off those trades, and you can't buy cards off of other people, you can only buy them at the vendors. Well, you could. I don't recommend it, because you'll get kicked out. That's not a good thing. Right after that, I would say probably make sure you have some type of note, like pen and paper with you. I don't know where there it is. Pen and paper with you, because they'll normally give you a booklet saying, here, duel 1, 2, 3. Here's it's kind of like a sticky note booklet, but it's bigger, and it has columns for yours and your opponent's life points. Now, Konami doesn't let you use calculators. At least if they do on certain turns. Oh, there's a plane. That's very loud, sir. We're gonna give that a second. Alright, there it goes. So, Konami doesn't like using calculators, especially not phone calculators, because they can be messed with, they can be tampered with, and also it doesn't show prior history, as in to say, okay, here's when this happened, here's when you lost this many life points, oh, that's incorrect, to change it up, I like to kind of see the history of everything, especially for judges. It just makes their job a lot easier. So make sure you have some type of pen and paper. If not, always bring a pen or a pencil, so that way you can keep track of life points like you need to. Between pen and pencil, I would say probably a pencil's a bit better, just because, just in case you fuck up. you need to erase it. You'd rather not scribble it out and rewrite it, but a pen's okay. Just make sure you have that. Another thing, make sure if you have a phone or some way to contact, it's always nice to have because sometimes things come up. They normally last 2 days, so it's like, oh shoot, I made it to day 2. Gotta call my parents or my roommates or whoever you're with, whoever brought you there. Hey, I need to stay another day because I made day 2, or I didn't make day 2. We need to leave, or you want food. You need to find a place to stay. Make sure you have that. It's best to have that. Unless you're with a parent, then obviously your parent's gonna have all that stuff ready. But if you're not, make sure you bring it. Don't forget a charger. Very important. You do not want your phone dying out on you in the middle of that. After that, I would say if you're staying to day 2 and you're looking for places to stay because it's out of state for you. For example, I went to YCS, Atlanta, I'd need a place to stay. So you want to bring like general stuff, maybe a spare change of clothes, you don't want to smell, towel, toothbrush and toothpaste, normal stuff. As far else as I think that's about it. There's not too much. It's pretty basic stuff, but it's very important. Like I said, especially with the sleeves, things, and the mats, there's just a lot of stuff you don't want to get called on because you don't have it. Now, I get mats can be expensive. They can be anywhere from $20, like this mat, to upwards to $40, $60. If you do, however, Side Deck Cafe, I don't know if they have it online. I'd have to check, but they do sell little half mats like these, like the one I'm giving away, relatively cheap, anywhere from $10 to $15. So if you're on a budget, those are normally the better mats to get. So, alright guys, I think that's going to be it for today's video. Hit like, subscribe, notification bell if you want. Remember, Crystal Plush 101, get down in the comments below. Tell me how you kind of want to go about this. You need to get this, man. I want to make sure you get it. And yeah, that's going to be it. Have a nice day. Team Big Play signing off.